3D animation pipeline. The process of creating a 3D animation is much more complex than most people think. The number of steps to produce a 3D animated piece can vary to a great extent, depending on the animation studio involved and the scale of the project itself. 3D animation pipeline. Animation workflow or pipeline is a system consisting of people, hardware, and software aligned to work in a specific sequential order to do predetermined tasks in a predetermined time frame, which will lead to a 3D animation product or asset as the final output. The final product could be a traditional animation such as a feature film, short film, animated commercial video, television show, game trailer, or video game asset, or it could be something totally different. It's much like an assembly line for 3D animated video production. Recently, more animation studios have been using 3D animations in their transmedia storytelling projects. If you're new to the topic, we recommend reading our What is Transmedia Storytelling article before moving on to the next part. Animation studios. The following pipeline is used for the majority of 3D animation projects. Key components of CGI animation pipeline. 3D animation production pipeline has three main stages. 1. Pre-production. 2. Production. 3. Post-production. Based on organizational considerations, resources, outcomes, and other factors, each segment of the 3D animation industry uses the three stages a little differently, but the main structure remains intact. The specifics of each project's pipeline may also be slightly different. However, the three main stages remain the same again. Pre-production is the research, designing, and planning phase of the entire 3D project, which is split between two teams. 1. The design team creates the idea, story, and designs. 2. Management team, who writes down the production plan. The better the pre-production phase is done, the easier the production stage will be. Pre-production consists of the following steps. 1. Idea generation. Every great story starts with a brilliant idea. Thus, it is essential for a successful animation to have a solid, well-thought idea. 2. Story creation. Ideas will be developed and improved until the whole story is shaped. This is a basic version of what's going to happen in the animation, including the characters and their conflict. 3. Script writing. The script is the formal, written, literary version of the story, including the character movements, environment, time, actions, and dialogues. 4. Storyboarding. A storyboard is a non-moving visual version of the script. It basically looks like a comic book, including early ideas of camera staging, major character poses, or scene events. 5. Animatic. A moving form of the storyboard is called the animatic, which will evolve into the final edit of the entire project. The animatic is created in its most simple form, portraying the sequence timing of the project through 2D storyboard drawings. Animatic in a nutshell, the storyboard made animated. 6. Design. The final look of the project is decided at this stage, including the concept design, character design, costumes, prop design, and environment. The mood and the concept of designs must be fully conveyed here. 3D animation production process. The production stage is where all previous efforts must pay off and transform into action. At this stage, visual elements of the 3D animation will be handed out to the designated teams and artists. Team leaders make sure time frames and quality matches those of the determined plan in the pre-production stage and goes as smoothly as possible. The outcome of this stage shapes the entirety of the 3D animation. The production stage consists of the following steps. 3D layout. Simply put, a 3D version of the 2D animatic is called a 3D layout. The 3D layout contains basic 3D attributes such as the characters, size, shape, environment, a simple animation of the characters, proxy geometry, etc. 3D modeling. 3D modeling is the process of developing a geometric surface representation of any object in a specialized 3D software such as Maya or 3ds Max. 3D texturing. The process of creating and applying textures, colors and surface properties to a 3D model is called 3D texturing. Before coming to the texture artist, 3D models are usually in a default shaded flat color. 3D rigging. During the rigging process, a bone structure is put into the 3D object so that the animators can move different parts of the geometric object in character rigging, for example, as quickly and efficiently as possible. 3D animation. The movements of the 3D objects or characters in a scene or setting are created during the animation stage. Animation is usually the most crucial and time-consuming part of producing a 3D animated video. VFX. A 3D animator animates almost everything, but elements like hair, fur, water, fire, clothes, or dust, keyframing them would be too difficult or even impossible. These elements are created during the VFX component of the pipeline. Lighting. Just like real-world lighting in photography or filming, 3D animation lighting is the stage at which the mood of a 3D scene or sequence is created through light based on the pre-production designs. Rendering. When dealing with a 3D animation, every scene is separated and rendered into multiple layers, including objects, colors, background, foreground, shadows, highlights, etc. The layers are going to be united again in the post-production stage. Compositing. Post-production process. At this stage, the final touches are added to the project to make it look polished and professional. Post-production artists have a number of tools that can make up the look of a project in whatever way they want. Post-production in the 3D animation pipeline includes compositing. To make a final output, the layers rendered previously are put together again in compositing. The layering process can be as simple as putting two layers together or as complex as matching 2D VFX. Some visual effects, such as sparks, dust, raindrops, camera shakes, etc., are more easily achieved in 2D environment at the end of the project without sacrificing the quality. These effects are usually mixed with other layers in compositing. Color correction. Also known as color timing or color grading, color correction is literally the last adjustment we make to a 3D animation in the pipeline. This step makes each shot and the whole project look more consistent. Final output. There are different options out there regarding the output format of the pipeline. However, the most common type is a digital video which is compatible with most digital devices and can be played on the internet.
Please share and like this video if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe the channel for more videos.